So this is the ModRetro Chromatic. This is a cartridge-only handheld console that will play Game Boy and Game Boy Color cartridges, plus the first-party titles that ModRetro themselves are releasing. So let's talk about a couple of features about this right off the bat. Number one is the display. It is a 160 by 144 display, which looks absolutely incredible. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. The body is a magnesium shell, so all metal and feels very premium. The buttons are fantastic. And you have three options when it comes to power. It can run on AA batteries. It has USB pass-through, so even if there's no batteries in here and you're plugged into it, you're gonna have power. And then they also have the rechargeable power core, which I think is definitely the way to go on this guy, but again, we'll talk more about that in a couple of minutes. So talking about the display, one of the things that I remember, mainly fondly of the Game Boy, although probably back then it was really frustrating, is when the batteries are running low, you start to see a lot of ghosting. I feel like you're turning up the contrast super high to like try to get as much out of it as you can. With this display, there is none of that. It looks awesome, it's nice and sharp, it's very playable day or night. Even if you have it outside in direct sunlight, I feel like you're gonna have an okay time with it. It comes with the Gorilla Glass or the Sapphire. This one that they sent to me was the Gorilla Glass. And that's one of the main selling points with this device is the display. With it being the 160 by 144, there is no scaling. It is made to fit exactly the way that the developers made the games back then. And so you really are getting a one-to-one representation of what they were hoping that you would see on this device, which is pretty cool. Now, like I said, with the body, it is the magnesium shell, and that's one of the things that I love the most about this, especially with the weather change. When I pick it up at the beginning of the day, it feels cold to the touch, which there's just something about that for me. That may not be the same thing for you, but there's something about it being cold to the touch, and then as I'm playing it, it's slowly warming up in my hands that I love so much. The buttons really are amazing, and here's the thing, I wouldn't consider myself like a button snob or anything like that. I own quite a few retro handhelds now, and the buttons are never really something that I either get hung up on or that I like super appreciate, but on this, there is something different about it. Like I probably haven't held an original Game Boy in probably 25 years. And there's something about as soon as I had this in my hand and had the feel of it, it made me smile. Like something just clicked and it felt right. So as I mentioned, three power options. The first one being AA batteries, which immediately is gonna give you those Saturday morning feels, which by the way, whatever your favorite Saturday morning cartoon was, drop it in the comments below. For me, I was always a Looney Tunes man. I don't know why, still to this day. I love me some Looney Tunes. Your second power option is gonna be the USB pass-through. So if you're gonna be stationary for a while and you're gonna post up somewhere and just play, even if you don't have any batteries, you plug it into the USB-C and you're gonna be good to go. And lastly, and probably the no-brainer option here, is the rechargeable power cord. ModRetro sent me over one of these, and if they hadn't, I think it's just a no-brainer. It really is the way to go. Charging feels pretty quick, but to be honest, I've put a lot of hours into this thing, and I often will just leave it sitting on the counter, sitting on the coffee table for people to just kind of pick up and use and mess with. And I don't think there's ever been a time where we felt like, oh man, the battery's about to die. Even after days of use and it just sitting there. So even casually charging it feels like you're always gonna be good to go. Speaking of leaving it out for people to use, I think that's one of the coolest things about the Chromatic is if you've been around this channel for a while, you know that accessibility to games is something that I'm a big fan of. And that's what I love about this thing compared to maybe some of the newer retro handhelds that are out there. The newer retro handhelds are amazing and they do really great things, but they can be a little bit intimidating to navigate sometimes. With the Chromatic, everything about it is just intuitive. You just sort of know how it works. Even my youngest, she can just grab it, pick it up, and click it on, and she just kind of knows how it works, which is a really, really cool thing. So speaking of games, this guy will play your Game Boy and your Game Boy Color cartridges that you own and that you've had as a kid, all your favorites, all that great stuff. But it also plays their first-party titles that they have released and that they're going to continue to release, which is really cool. And I know for some people, the cartridge-based limitations of this machine are really cool because it really does provide sort of this distraction-free, very focused gaming experience. And it kind of also does force you to be locked into the games that you own and really lean into those and not take them for granted. So, of course, the first thing I did was buy a flash cart. For me, this was kind of a game changer when it came to the Chromatic, because having access to the Game Boy library and the Game Boy Color library on such a premium feeling device was honestly so rad. Prior to this, most of my Game Boy and Game Boy Color play sessions were on my Anbernic RG35XXH, which is an amazing machine in its own right. I have no complaints there. But there is something about playing those games on this form factor in such a premium feeling device that is really hard to beat. When it comes to the display, when it comes to the buttons, when it comes to the shell, man, it takes you back in all of the best ways possible. And as a nostalgia junkie, that's gonna be a thing for me. I can't help it. So what does this all mean? Let's wrap this up. When it comes to the Chromatic, when I first saw it announced online, I had an immediate reaction, like probably many of you, especially when it came to the price. In a very similar vein to the like, just get a Steam Deck, bro, crowd, there is also the just get an analog pocket, bro, crowd, who is kind of in this arena. But here's my take on it. The Chromatic goes hard. It leans very heavily into doing a very small group of things very well, rather than being sort of a jack of all trades, master of none. The display is intentionally focused on displaying these games and only these games flawlessly. The shell is about as premium feel as you can get, and all of this comes with a price tag of $199 for the Gorilla Glass or $299 if you go for the Sapphire display. So full disclosure, if ModRetro had not sent this over to me, I probably would not have experienced it. A device that is this niche would not have been for me, and I would have passed. But I'm really glad that they did. And not only because it feels good to have people send you free stuff, especially expensive free stuff. No, I'm grateful because yet again, just like Kirby's Adventure, I would have been sleeping on something that is really great. And in the short time that I've had it, has already made some connection points and some memories with my girls, which is priceless. So is the ModRetro Chromatic for you? I think you have to decide. If you're somebody who grew up with the Game Boy and you long to return back to those slow Saturday mornings where really the only worry you had in the whole world was whether those AA batteries were gonna hold up, then you might wanna give it a chance. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me. Stay rad, and I'll see you soon.